Okay, hello everyone. This is especially in honour of you, James, over in England. On your journey, this would reflect here, hopefully, some of your travels. Ulysses, obviously, the Roman name of Odysseus, and his journey. This is perhaps a little bit easier than the level of Latin that we've been looking at, but it's still good practice, and it's got all the grammar points that we are learning in it. So let's get cracking with passage 81, Ulysses, homeward bound, following on from the Trojan War. First of all, Urbem Troiam a Graecis decem annos obsessam esse satis constat. De hoc enim bello homerus maximus poetarum Graecorum Iliadem opus notissimum scripsit. Let's look at this first sentence together then. Urbem Troiam a Graecis decem annos obsessam esse satis constat. Constat, it is agreed, urbem, that the city of Troy, obsessam esse, constat, it is agreed. As soon as I see that, I'm thinking, well, I see an accusative infinitive, and indeed I can. It is agreed that the Trojan city had been besieged by the Greeks for decem annos, for 10 years. De hoc enim bello homerus maximus poetarum Graecorum Iliadem opus notissimum scripsit. Find our subject, and our subject will be this US ending. Homeros is going to be our subject here. So, Homer, maximus poetarum Graecorum, maximus, the greatest, superlative adjective there, the greatest of the Greek poets, scripsit, wrote Iliadem, wrote the Iliad, opus notissimum, his very famous work, de hoc bello, about this war. So let's start that off again. Enim, for Homer, enim Homerus, for Homer, the Maximus, the greatest of the Greek poets, scripsit, wrote the Iliad, his most famous work, about de bello hoc, about this war. Troia tandem per insidia capta, Graeci longo bello fessi domum redere matura verunt. Tandem, at last, Troia capta, look at those endings, Troia, capta, perfect passive participle, but that A, with indeed that very helpful line above it, is telling us that we're dealing with an ablative, so it's with Troy having been captured. After Troy had been captured at last, per insidias, through ambush, through treachery. I suppose if it's Romans writing, then it's probably more likely that it will be per insidias, through treachery, especially when we look at Book 2 of the Aeneid. Graeci, the Greeks, fessi, tired from the longo bello, tired from their long war, matura verunt, decided, redire, nice easy infinitive there, decided to return home. So there we've got an ablative absolute, troia capta. The Greeks, tired from their long war, decided, got ready to return home. Omnibus rebus igitur ad profectionem paratis naves deduxerunt et tempestatem idoneam nacti magno cum gaudio solverunt. So, igitur, therefore, with omnibus rebus paratis, with all matters paratis, prepared, having been prepared, ad profectionem, to depart, having got everything ready to set off, omnibus rebus paratis, another ablative absolute. Look at that paratus there, the PPP, but that IS ending that we have there, the IS, as soon as you see IS, or indeed O, A, or O, you need to be thinking to yourself, am I dealing with an ablative absolute? As we go through that, with a PPP, it's likely to be an ablative absolute. So, here, therefore, having got everything ready to set off, deduxerunt, they took out their ships, and they led out their ships, and nacti, from nankiskor, and having obtained a tempestatem idoneam, having obtained a suitable wind, solverunt, they set off cum magno gaudio, with great joy. Let's not forget how difficult it is to obtain suitable winds in the ancient world. First of all, of course, Agamemnon had to sacrifice his daughter Iphigenia to get the right wind to get out there in the first place, and we've been looking recently at Sinon and this idea of getting the suitable winds to set off. So how did they manage to get this suitable wind? So they set off with great joy. Erat inter primos Graecorum ulixes quidam. There was among the first of the Greeks a certain Ulysses, vir sumai virtutis, ac prudentiae quem dicunt nonoli, dolomis dum excogitase quo Troiam captam esse constat. So, for this bit, then we've got, there was, among the first of the Greeks, a certain Ulysses, a man of the greatest virtue and prudence, quem, whom, dicunt, nonuli. Nonuli is our subject because it's got that nominative end in nonuli, whom some say, literally they say, whom some say, excogitase had come up. So as soon as I see this dicunt, I'm thinking, am I going to see an accusative infinitive? Will I see an indirect statement? And indeed I do, with excogitase, whom some say came up with illum, came up with that plan, quo, by which, constat, it is agreed. And again we've got another indirect statement. Troy was captam. Troy was captured. Hic regnum insulae Ithacae obtinuerat, et Paulo antequam cum reliquis Graecis ad bellum profectus est, puellam formiosissimam nomine Penelopen in matrimonium duxerat. So this next bit, this man, obtinuerat, had ruled the kingdom of the island of Ithaca, and antequam, and a little while before he profectus est, a little bit before he set out, cum reliquis Graecis, with the remaining Greeks ad bellum, for war. Let's look at the main verb, duxerat, duxerat, he had led into marriage, he had married, then find our object, puellam formosissimam, he had married this girl, most beautiful in form, this most beautiful girl, nomine, by the name of Penelope. Let's do that whole sentence again. This man had held the kingdom of the island of Ithaca, and a little while before he set out with the remaining Greeks for war, he had married the most beautiful girl by the name of Penelope. Nunc igitur, therefore now, nunc igitur cum jam decem annos quasi in exilio consumpsis et magna cupiditate patriae et uxores videndae ardebat. Look at that word, videndae. As soon as we see that, we're thinking that's going to be an important one, isn't it? So, nunc igitur, now therefore, when he had spent 10 years, quasi, as if in exile, nunc igitur, now therefore, when he had spent 10 years, cum consumpsis et, a temporal clause with a pluperfect subjunctive ending, when he had spent 10 years as if in exile, he ardebat, he was burning, magna cupiditate, with a great love of his fatherland, and of his uxoris, and of his wife, videndae, being seen, and of his wife being seen. As soon as we see that, we know it's going to be a gerund or a gerundive, that ending. But because of that AE ending that we have there, we know that it has to be a gerundive, because a gerund is not going to be feminine. Not only that, it is referring to the uxoris. It is agreeing with something, isn't it? So it's actually describing the uxoris. So it is, he was burning with, obviously, longing of his fatherland and of seeing his wife, rather than and of his wife being seen and of seeing his wife. So that is passage 81 of Homeward Bound. I hope that, James, you are having a wonderful time in London, and we look forward to your journey homeward bound. I'm going to translate all of these for you so that you can practice your unseens while you're away for some light relief. Hope you're having a good time. All the best.